Hello, my name is Russ. I'm not really a YouTuber or anything like that. I'm making this primarily for my dad. Hey Dad, what's going on? I live all the way down here and you're all the way up there, and we talked about this. Maybe recording some games, I like games, and putting them on the internet so you can watch them, get a kick out of it maybe. I know I said I was going to do your Railroad Empire game. I'll do that too, but let me play this game first. I'm kind of interested in building games, so got my cup of coffee here. Try to make this about 30-minute introductory video. Let me set my phone up so I can know exactly what time it is, how long I've been rambling, you know how I am. All right. So, Forest Village, it's just a little game that, well, it's actually pretty in-depth. You play on a little island, you build up a village in medieval times, and I have a lot of mods added in, modifications to the game. It adds to the game. So let's jump into it. All right, got a new game loaded up here. We'll change the island to normal size. Let's go with hills. I normally play on mountains, but that involves a lot of terraforming, and I don't want to get into a bunch of terraforming in this. Let's change the name to EY. I can't type. Wayne's Fort. And I found a map that I kind of like. Type in the map ID. 3945 63 7995 7995. All right. And this little purple pinkish dot or whatever is where you're going to start, but you can change that to wherever you want within, fairly close. It won't let you, there you go. Won't let you put it exactly anywhere. Go ahead and try here. I was looking at this map. A lot of them are interesting. Got kind of a higher hill here. I might end up putting a keep or something up there. Over here you can build bridges and things like that. I was thinking about maybe potentially putting a lighthouse right here on this tip, to warn people coming through this narrow passage. Or I don't know, maybe the lighthouse would be better over here, maybe on top of the island. I'll figure it out. It's kind of interesting here. Over here is this little cove. Might expand into these areas at some point, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's get started. I made this video a couple of times. I noticed I was doing annoying things, or the sound wasn't right. The sound is probably, it seems a little tinny to me. I need to load in. Let me pause this before I get too far. Yeah, I'm going to load in. I got a better video editing program. I was recording with 2 tracks, one for the game sound and one for the microphone. And when I was listening to it, I noticed that the game sound wasn't there. And I think the reason is because the program I was listening to it with couldn't play both tracks at the same time. So I think both tracks were there. Get a better video editing program, and so I can hear both tracks and combine them that way. I thought it might be a good idea to separate me from my voice out in case I cough or whatever. That way, if I get into editing, I can take that out. No biggie. All right, well, let's play the game. All right, Life is Feudal Forest Village. It's pretty neat. You get a look at this island. All right, let's see here. Oh, Okay, that's pretty flat. It looked pretty flat. Yeah, this is a dangerous area, so I'm not sure. We'll see what we want to do. I've never actually gotten around to building a lighthouse before, but sometimes you send ships out and makes their voyages quicker. You have to send ships to discover things. Like you only start with chickens, and animal-wise, and you're going to want cattle because they produce milk. You can get meat, but there are certain things animals produce that are required for building certain things. Like you got chickens, so you can make your feather pillows and things like that. But you you could use milk for making certain recipes, and you need cows. I have a mod in this that allows me to get milk from sheep as well. Sheep are going to give you wool, so you need wool for warm clothing. Your people aren't going to freeze to death per se with the regular clothing, which I can make immediately. But the thing with that is they can't walk very far if they're further away from their house, like they're working on something out here or whatever, and then walking back, they might freeze to death trying to get back to their house, or they'll only work on something for a short amount of time, and they'll go back in the wintertime, so they don't freeze to death. You get a lot less work out of the people if they don't have good clothes. So we'll work on that, getting warm clothes and things. There's a mod I added in that makes it more difficult for me to, actually a couple of mods, more difficult to progress through the game. I have a research and academy or something like that, and it's a building that allows you to research certain technologies, and some of those technologies need to be researched before you can send a ship out. You need to be able to build a ship for one thing, so I'll have to research all that, and once I get that research done, then I can send the ships out, and hopefully they'll get wool at some point, or sheep. But I can set up a market and do some trading, so I can produce certain things and trade for what I need, wool or something like that. It's not completely necessary, but it's just interesting aspects of the game. All right, well, let's see here. I have a homeless person here. There's always one homeless person. Who's homeless? What's your name there? Mm-hmm. Natalie. Oh, that's interesting. Like I said, this is the second time. No, I loaded it up before as well to check the sound, and I think this was the third time. And I believe Natalie is the one that's homeless every time in this. Most of the other games I've played, it's usually a kid, like this little kid over here. Why aren't you homeless there, Colton? I don't know. Uh-huh. So what's the deal with you? Why are you homeless? They don't want you? Oh, pretty. Don't know why they wouldn't want you. Maybe you're just annoying as hell. Okay, let's look at a couple of things before I move on. Is that filterability? Yeah, I guess that's all of it. Oh, it looks like... All right, anyway. Well, first off, you can tell they're homeless, obviously, because of this thing. And if you hover over it, it's going to tell you, villager does not have a home. Sometimes they have a snowflake, which means they're cold. Maybe they're going to freeze to death. Like a fork and knife. That means they're hungry. Hopefully they can get someplace to eat. They have to eat in their house. That's one of the problems. Is if they can't get over to their house in time, then they'll starve to death. And if they get to their house and there's no food in it, then they have to go get food and bring it to the house before they can eat. So yeah, it's kind of a thing. So don't work your people too hard. They can starve to death. It's usually not too much of a problem, but I've seen it happen, especially if they're sick. Sometimes they catch a plague or whatever. If the animal's sick, they catch something from the animals. It's a good idea to try to keep the animals from wandering around your village too much, because you can catch diseases from that. We got some moose over here. No, you can't click on them. I thought maybe you could click on them and get some information. You got moose and elk, and those are good sources for meat, and boar. That's another good source of meat. You got wolves and foxes and bears. So those last three, you get hides from them. You don't really get meat. They're not dangerous to humans. They're not going to kill you or anything like that, maul you, but they will kill your animals. So we'll deal with that later. Like I said, we only have chickens now. Bears won't mess with the chickens, but the foxes and the wolves will get into your chicken coop and eat your chickens. So anyway, that's a little bit down the line. All right, like I was saying, let's check Natalie out here. All right, there's a couple things you can do. Let's start with this. All right, you can go into first person view. I'm not going to do that very much because I don't know if I've got one of the mods added in here causes the problem, or if it's a video setting or something like that. But if I walk around too much, the game crashes, and I'll actually save the game. If I have to go into first person mode for some reason, I'll save the game before I go into it. That way, if it crashes, I can reload that. It's pretty interesting. I don't know if you notice the depth of field changing. And I'm looking at this little girl, and it's all fuzzy and behind. But if I look out there, it's all clear. It's just a neat thing. There's a setting for near and far focal length, but that one is that's too annoying. This is just, it's kind of neat. I'm sure most people won't like it, but I think it's neat. So anyway, there's a couple of things you can do in this mode. You can hit the number 1. If you look at the bottom of the screen, number 1's like a horn. Number 2 is a tree. You can plant trees if you want. The horn, if you blow it, people will work harder. You don't want to do that too much because people might work themselves to death. I was looking at this little girl. Looks like she's all injured. Look at her leg down there. Looks like she's got a spot on there. I don't know if she's ill or whatever. Yeah, it's probably just hurt. You can work your person to death too if you hold on to them too long. And if you look up in the upper left-hand corner, you can see how hungry they are, how good their tool is, their clothes, how much durability you got on your clothes. If you work the person until the hunger goes all the way down, they'll starve to death. Or if you're working a long ways away and they need to get back to their house and they can't get back to their house in time, they'll starve to death as well. So gotta be careful about that. Like I said, I don't use first person all that much. Number 4, I don't know, down at the bottom again, the numbers you could push, the hotkeys, is blank. I don't know if they're planning on putting something there. Number 3, did I cover that? That's your bow and arrow. You can get that out and kill boars, and just any animal. It's a one-shot, one-kill thing. It's not that challenging. And if you pull it back, it gives you a little part or whatever. It shows you where your arrow is going to go. So I don't know if you shoot your village mate. I don't think it actually does anything. No, it's in pause. There it goes. Oh, there's a bird flying. I don't think you can hit. I saw somebody trying to kill fish. It doesn't work. All right. 5 is you can dance around. It makes people happy. And 6, I think, is bowing. I'm not sure if that makes people happy or not. Let's bring up the little tree thing. It has to be near enough to you, and you can change the type of tree. I don't think it tells you which kind anywhere that you're trying to plant, so you kind of got to know this is an oak tree. It's a pine tree. You can try to decorate different with different trees if you want, but that's a lot of extra work. All right. Anyway, let's get back out and talk about the other things. I'm an explanation heavy kind of a guy, you know that, Dad. And whoever else is watching, I'm sure you'll get bored with some of my explanations, but this is the starting video. I won't be explaining as much as we go along. As we were saying before, this is the mood. Clothing will wear out. And your tools. You'll need to make clothing, you'll need to make tools. Bag, that's if you're carrying something, it'll show up over there. There's a little white icon here. It's a book. That means you're educated. You are more efficient at working. You got a house. If you live in a house, then you can click on that and it'll go to your house, and then it tells you what kind of job you're doing. So let me bring up the professions tab, I think is what it's called. Yeah. Put that down here. And you notice this is labor. This is that's a little shovel and pick. That's a laborer. If you look over here, you can see that same symbol. That's a laborer. We got 6 people on that. There's nothing else available right now. If you've got a building that a person can work in, first off, it'll have a maximum number over here on this side, and all these are 0. If I have an orchard built, then there will be a number over here of maximum people I can put on it. You got a hunters, you got gatherers, you got all kinds of different jobs here, and we'll get into that, allocating people around and stuff like that later. This is a good tab. It helps you to get around the interface quickly, because these things are, I'll show you later. If you click on these, if there's actually some jobs to be done, like there's building jobs, you click on it, it'll cycle through all of them. I'll show that later. I've not seen any YouTuber playing this game that does that or has noticed that. So anyway, get rid of this mini map. I don't really care for it. It's kind of in the way. I notice everybody's barefoot. I'm not sure what the deal is. Does that mean nobody has good clothes? It kind of looks like everybody's tools. Oh, they're probably going to go pick up clothes. There's only a few clothes in there. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think that any of these people have good clothes, because everybody's barefoot and everything. Now, you can kind of tell what their clothes are like by looking at how they're dressed. It'll get more tattered or whatever. I think the kids always look the same though. But here's your barn. Bring that over here, and my warehouse. I might go kill that moose here in a minute. Actually, let's go kill that moose right now, just for the heck of it. All right, Colton, let's go. And he's got a house there. Let's click on it real quick, see where he lives. All right, so he lives in this house. It tells you here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. He's a teenager. It says here he's only, Colton, he's only 3. So, whatever. All right, let's go kill that moose. Hopefully this doesn't crash the game. All right, let's see, get out your bow. Let's walk over here, pull back. All right, 1 shot, 1 kill. All right, put away your bow and hit the shift key, you can move quicker. All right, we'll take the resource. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, he's able to pick it all up. I can't see, this is the amount. I have a mod in here that lets him carry more. It just makes it easier. All right, let's pause the game. I got a couple things I need to set up. I don't want to get too far into the year. I need to set up fields and all that sort of thing. So it takes a little while to build those, and I want to get the crops in as quick as possible. All right. So, but the first thing we need to do is get her a house. Let's see here. Let's try to upgrade this because, all right, we'll see. The last time through this, I upgraded it, and somebody was expecting a kid immediately. Hopefully this one won't happen in this one. We got 2 teenagers and a laborer. If somebody gets pregnant in there, that's not a good deal. All right, we'll upgrade this. All right, and put this over here just to keep an eye on it. If I move it, if I grab it and move it, it kind of pins it in. If I don't do that, I mean, I can move around, but if I click on something, it goes away. But this one stayed, so I like to keep jobs over here. Let's see here. I want to show you how you can. Let's see, where do I want to put a field in? You have more than one job, and if you do that, you can click between them. Looks like over here is pretty good. That's one of the problems is these trees, you can't see around them where they're darn. All right, that kid's homeless. All right, we're going to come down here to food production. And there's like a little wheat looking thing. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And we'll put a field in right here. We'll have it long ways. All right. I like it. All right, that's the base of the house. I like to have it at least one away from that. I'll end up with a house. That way there's room for a path. I guess that's the barn or whatever. All right, it has to be at least 9 by 9. If it isn't that wide, then it won't build. So I'm going to actually go 10. Oh, that actually lines up exactly the back. You know what? I'm going to go so it's exactly as wide as that. All right. Let's go 10 by 15. All right. If you look at the bottom, it tells you, it says you can have up to 20 workers in this. Vegetable crops, building material, gathering during warm seasons, number of workers up to 20, another mod. I feel like this in the vanilla game would only allow you to put, I don't know, 1, maybe 2 workers in it at once. And it doesn't require too many more than that, but it's kind of nice whenever a harvest comes and you're trying to get like your second harvest in. If you can put more than 1 worker in there, it's just handy. So I'm not going to have 20 workers in here. If you look up in the center of the screen, in the middle at the top where it tells field, that's the size 10 by 15, and it has a little picture of 6 guys there. That's how many workers can work on this at one time. Tells how much wood it's going to take, 24, and I've got 200 wood, so this is good. We'll go ahead and build this, and let's see here, we'll put another one in right next to it. All right, let's see here. All right, let me see. I'll give it, let me do it from this side so I can see how close I am to the house. Trees. All right. I like to give it at least 1 space so we can have like a road or whatever. Oh, 9 by 15. All right, same size. All right, did it right? No, I can't see now. Okay, yeah, it's the same size. And it'll clear off the stuff that's inside of there. It'll cut those trees down. Those people will come over, cut the trees down, and take away the ore and all that sort of stuff. So, all right, let's close this and click on that. Like I said, it says you can do 6. I don't want 6. I'll put 2 on this one, and I'll click on the other one. I'll put 2 on this one, and then you can change the workers right here. I'll click 4, get 4 people over here, start working on that. That leaves me 2 other people. Actually, did I click to upgrade this house? Do I have people working on that? Let's see here. Oh, I need 1 more. I have 5 jobs. If you look over here next to the jobs, it says that I've got 5 jobs to do, so I will click up 1 more. That way I can work on all this at the same time. All right. That's the most important thing, to get those fields in. Let them work on that, and I'll bump the speed up. You can hit the numbers. 1 is your normal speed, 2 is times 2, 3 is times 5, and 4 is times 10. It makes people run around real quick. Let me put it on 5 for the quicker stuff. I don't really like speed 10. I don't know, I can miss things with speed 10. I'll run it on speed 2 most of the time probably though. All right. Now this house, it's almost there. 3, 4. Almost, they're adding in this little thing on the side. All right. Now, has everybody got a house? All right, looks like everybody has a house. I made this video, I was working on it before, and I put that addition on there, and all of a sudden they were expecting a baby, and I had to build like another shack in order to get that one homeless person in. All right, get this field built. Are these fields? Nope, this one's done, looks like. No, it's got to be built. All right. Oh, I wanted to show you something. All right, so that's the reason I had more than one job. All right, if you click on this, it'll cycle through the jobs that you got. There's only 2. So you remember before I had the shack up here? That way I can see what's going on. That's another quick way if you don't want to have all that up there, especially if it's small jobs. You can just click on it and bounce back and forth. It's a real quick way to get to where your people are working. All right. Now I was talking about clothes earlier, so they're going to need some clothes at some point, and I still think that, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Look at this. All right, tool durability. That's good. So she's got a good tool. And if you look over here, I got 24 of the high quality tools. I can't make those right now because that requires a certain kind of research and everything, and I have to build a research academy, and research requires you to have certain materials put into it. We'll get into that later, but I can't make high quality tools, so those will run out at some point. I can make primitive ones, and for that I'm going to need a workbench. So I'm going to need firewood as well. I like to put the firewood in front of this because this is where the firewood will be put, and then the houses will go and get it. And anybody that cuts trees down, they'll put the logs in here. The guy with the firewood will go get the logs, chop it up, and put it in the barn, and then people will come and get it when they need it. So first things first, let's get that sorted out. I have a mod for a chopping block. That's good for like if you have outposts further out. But we're going to do a lumberjack right in front of this. I'll put it over here. All right, if you hold the shift down, it'll let it snap to the different places. You can, if you don't have that down, you notice that box keeps getting bigger. It'll take up more space. So it doesn't matter to me if it's in an exact square. It looks fine either way, but it allows me to make sure that I can put roads in between and different things like that. I'm not taking up too much space. All right, it looks like the front is over here towards the warehouse. We'll put it right there. All right, lumberjack. They're going to chop down some trees, it says here, and then they got to bring all this wood and stuff over here. And I will go ahead and add in the workbench as well, which that's a crafting table. We'll put that in. Let's see here. Where do I want to put that at? I want a road there. I can put it on the side of this. That would be a good idea. Leave a space. There's different models. If you move this around, it'll like have a roof over it. I kind of like the one with a spinning well. Let's shift out, see what I get. There's a spinning well. Can I get a roof and a spinning well? Maybe like this. Oh, there we go. I'll put that in there. Take up a little extra space, but I'll be able to make primitive tools and clothing in there. And I'll need hides for the clothing. So I've only got 10 hides, so that means I've got to get hunters out. So let me find the hunting. Yeah, that'll bring in food anyway. All right, so let's make this little one. Hunting cabin. Now let's see here. You see that ring? That's the that's how wide your hunting area is. So I think I'll put it over here. That should keep animals out of the village. They should catch them on the way in. All right, it's facing this way, and I'll put a gatherer's hut out here as well. They'll gather up nuts and berries and vegetables and all that stuff out in the wild. So they're best if there's trees around and plants and all that sort of stuff. Well, obviously vegetables are plants. And if you look here, there's a lot of stone and ore over here. So that's why the trees are really sparse, and that also is going to mean that the stuff that they gather, there's going to be less of it, because the stone and the ore are taking up those spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to need this stuff anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and gather it up. So I'll get into collect resources, and I don't want to do gather all because it'll take the trees, and then there won't be very good hunting. It'll be less hunting. But this is a stone. I'll go ahead and get the stone in this area. All right, drag this over. I'll get stone in my whole area. All right, it says there's 134. If you look right in the middle of that box, that's how much stone I'm going to get if I gather all this. 124. All right, it's fine. Now they'll gather that first because I put that, that was the first one that I laid down, and I'll get the ore as well to give my gatherers an area. You can only do this so big as well. You notice it stops if I go there. I'm not sure how wide that is or whatever, but 110 ore in that area. They might not be able to get to all of it. Like I said, I usually would do this in mountains, and mountains would cause the people to not be able to grab stuff because the terrain would be too rough between them. There's just no path to it. But this is flatter, especially this area, but it gets a little higher up here. And as I was saying before, I think this is the highest spot. Let's see here. Here or over here? I think over here looks like this would be a really good view, maybe. Yeah. Tops of the trees are kind of in the way, but yeah, we'll build something up there at some point. All right, where's my village? It's so little. All right, it is near here, I believe. Where the heck is it? Okay, I was pretty, isn't this where I was going to put the lighthouse? Oh no, that's really narrow. All right. Okay, it's over here. Okay, geez, I got lost. I didn't really want to bring up that stupid little mini map. Does it look like anything? I'm going to bring that up. Sometimes if you look at it, you can like see something. Which one is the map? This one? I don't know. This kind of looks like maybe a turkey. There's his drumstick here, and his leg is forward on the other side or something. All right, sorry I'm pausing it so much, not making much progress, but let's see, still have 4 jobs, or 4 people required. So working on hunting cabin, gatherer's hut. Okay, so that means the crafting table is done. And you'll have question marks in front of these things, or over them, if they require workers. All right, let's go with the clothing. Not a lot of huts, but all right, we'll add 1 person to that. All right, and you have to click OK. If you don't click OK, it'll stay on the primitive weapons. You'll close it all right, let's see. Edmund is working on this, and if we want to see where he is, we can click this arrow, and there he is. It shows what his job is right there. A little saw thing. If you look over here, I think it's carpenter. Carpenter makes primitive tools. Carpenter shop required. Well, not with the mod. You can use this little table, but that does kind of help. It'll tell you what's required. Kilns required. Blast furnace or furnace is required. Weaver's workshop is required, but you can make warm clothing and just regular clothing, which you can also do with this little table here. All right. If we click this arrow right here, it'll actually track the guy. It'll follow him around. All right, so it says he's carrying storage. He's got 10 stones, but as soon as he gets that dropped off, he's going to come back and start making some clothes, which looks like he needs to because, oh no, his clothes are all the way up. They took all the clothes out. If you look over here, there's no clothes anymore. So they took all of them. I don't know why I didn't continue to follow him. I must have clicked on something. All right. He's going to go get resources. He needs certain things. Already took all the hides, so he's going to have nothing to do pretty quick until we get some hides coming in. And he may not even put any of these over in the storage because they will wait until they have a certain amount, like their carry weight, before they take it to storage. I noticed that. I changed the carry weight on this to like, I think ×2. I had it ×4 at one point. And they wouldn't take anything from their little shops over to the warehouse or the barn until it got super heavy. I'm like, oh man, I need this stuff over there. I was trying to make, I had them fishing seafood, and the fishmonger guy was over there waiting, and he couldn't get any seafood to cook because everybody's carry weight was so high. They were waiting forever before they brought any of the seafood over. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off now. It's about 38 minutes long. I wanted to do about 30 minutes, so this one went better than the last one. More interesting. I guess it just takes a little bit of time to play around and see where you want to go. Catch your groove or whatever. Not seem so stilted. All right, well, let's take a look at my little village. All right, looks all right. Can have some hunters over here and some gatherers and some nice flat land we can move into over here. At some point, we can build a bridge across here maybe. We'll put a fishing lodge in. You get better fish in deeper water. So over here, I might build some docks. I will build some docks. And out further, and I can put in some fish farms and things like that. And those produce pretty good, and they don't require quite as many workers as if you put in the fishing lodge. You can have up to 3 workers, and then they're not as efficient because there's not as many fish next to the shore in the shallow water. You kind of see the fish swimming around. So to build the docks, to get out a little further, it takes a little while to do. So I probably, when I build those, I'll do that offline and have them built so whenever we come back in, we can look at it. But I'm not going to do that until like another episode. All right. Talk to you later, Dad. Hope you find this interesting, me and my rambling.